We're Marshall and Sabrina. In 2023, we quit our office jobs to chase our dreams of traveling the world. We've been spending the last 6 months backpacking through Europe and Asia, where we have experienced some truly amazing things and tried so many delicious foods.
Now, we are back in the US and we bought a van, which we're going to be living in while spending some time exploring everything this country has to offer. But we're still definitely going to be heading out on some international adventures in between. Before we get started though, it only felt right to give you a tour of our new home.
This video has kind of been a long time in the making. We've had this van for almost 3 months and we've just been spending so much time researching and preparing and doing renovations, but we're finally ready to show you guys.
So, this is a 2015 Ram Promaster, and I guess we'll start with the front here. There's really not too much special up here, but there are a few things that we do want to show you. Despite this being one of the biggest vehicles I've ever driven, it's actually not too bad to drive. I did, however, get into a minor car crash on the test drive, but ever since then I've learned to take wide turns and it has not been very bad to drive at all. One of the things that makes it so easy is it has a backup camera, so I can just easily back up into spots, so that just makes it so much easier. Also, one of the biggest things for Sabrina and I is the fact that it can fit into a normal parking space. That just adds so many possibilities for places to stay at night or just park while we're figuring out what our next move is. One thing that's really nice to have is this overhead storage bin. It adds so much extra space, and I didn't know they don't come standard with all of these vans, and I'm just so glad that ours came with it already. We're able to store our window covers, a yoga mat, some towels, and a bunch of other random things, and it just adds so much storage space. It's really nice to have it.
Right behind the driver's seat is my favorite change we've made to the van so far. I'm so grateful that Marshall and his parents took the time to renovate our bathroom to make it something that we are so much more comfortable with. When we bought the van, there was already a bathroom installed in it, but it was so small that even with just the toilet in it, you could not fit a person in and have any kind of privacy, especially because with the size of it, you couldn't fit a door. There was just a shower curtain going across, so no privacy at all. With the renovation, they expanded the bathroom walls by about a foot, which allowed us to fit this shower door in it, and it gives us so much more privacy. I cannot believe how much more comfortable I am living in this van with a bathroom door. It's awesome. And in here, the renovation's not completely done. We do want to add some tiles around it, but as of right now, it's totally functional. It serves all of our needs just fine. We have a shower head in here, which we have not used yet. It's still kind of winter and we don't have a hot water heater, so I think it'll be a little while until we do try that out. We also have our Nature's Head composting toilet in here, which seems to be a really common toilet option for vans, and we can totally see why. It is so easy to use. In the front, there's a tank for liquids, which is totally separate from the composting part. And when that's full, you can just take that out and dump it in any dump station, which we've learned are pretty common in gas stations, or you can just dump it in any toilet if you have access to that as well. That works totally fine. And for the solid side, that's where the composting comes in. It's filled with peat moss, and you're able to access that by pulling this little lever, which allows you to drop everything into that tank, and a crank that allows you to rotate the composting every time you use it. And when that gets full, you can just dump it into any trash bag and throw it away since it's composting. And the best part about this toilet is the fan, which keeps our van pretty much odor-free anytime we use the toilet. It works so well, it's so efficient and so quiet that we don't even know it's running most of the time, and I'm just so happy we have this option. It is so convenient.
Right when you step out of the bathroom, you are instantly in the kitchen, and I'm actually really happy with how functional this space is. Right here we have the sink, and it's pretty deep, so you can fit quite a bit of stuff in here. The only annoying thing about it is how loud the pump is for when you turn on the sink.
We try really hard to park not very close to people on nights when we cook dinner and have to do dishes, because I can only imagine that gets pretty annoying, especially later at night.
It's actually surprisingly not that loud from the outside, but still, it sounds so loud when you're in here. Apart from that, we have a ton of counter space, which is just so nice. I'm really happy with this. Normally we'll set up like our cooktop right here, and then over here it doesn't actually get used all that much because you open it up and it becomes the fridge. So we have 2 different compartments. This one is normally what we use for the fridge, but you can actually choose which one is the fridge or freezer, or you can turn one off like we have it now. So currently we're just using this for normal storage, and then this one over here is for our fridge stuff. But it's pretty messy right now because we've actually been living in here. This kitchen is super nice. One of the things that I really missed while we were traveling is whenever you'd get to an Airbnb, it would kind of be a gamble of if they would have any spices. Normally they would have salt or whatever, but now I can bring my whole thing of spices and it just makes cooking so much more fun. Right under the sink area is where we store a bunch of our kitchen items and some other miscellaneous things, but a lot of it is actually taken up by our water tanks, which we'll talk about later. So right here we have one of our items that we really like, but isn't exactly practical because of how much power it draws. It's our water kettle, but it's so nice for being able to make tea or coffee whenever we want, so we keep that. In here we have our crock pot and pots and pans and other things like that. It's really nice having this crock pot because it just makes cooking meals so much easier, and when you can make meals in a single container while living in a van, it is just so nice compared to having a bunch of different things that you have to wash after. And then up here, our pantry continues. So we have some cups and plates and bowls, and then a bunch of food items that we just store kind of randomly. Anything that doesn't need to be refrigerated goes in here. We're pretty happy with how little silverware we need to have. And these bowls and plates are super nice. They're like melamine bamboo, and so they look nice, they're dark, and they shouldn't break.
Oh my gosh. Now moving on to the dining room / office / bedroom area. This is where we have our meals and do our work when we're not feeling lazy and we actually bring this table out. It's so nice to have a desk area where we can both so easily fit to get our work done, and these shelves are far enough above that we have enough headspace where it doesn't feel claustrophobic, which is really great. And if we wanted to, we could scoot all the way to the end and fit 2 more people to have a dinner party in here. And for when we are feeling lazy, or if we ever want to fit more than 4 people in this van. Both of these front chairs swivel around, and it's not the easiest process to get the hang of, but it's totally worth it if you can get it down. Okay. The driver's seat also swivels around, but you have to be careful because sometimes the e-brake gets in the way, and obviously it can't go all the way this way, otherwise it'd be staring at a wall. One thing that would have been nice if we went with the longer van model is the size of freshwater and gray water tanks we could fit in the van. Right now we only have a 20-gallon freshwater tank, which isn't bad and has been enough to keep us going for at least a few days, but we've seen in a lot of the longer van models they can fit 40 gallons, and that would have been so much nicer, but it hasn't been too bad. It's been fairly easy to fill up and dump our fresh and gray water. When you open up our side door on the other side of the sink, there's nozzles for both, so it's actually been pretty easy, but sometimes it is hard to find, especially freshwater. We haven't had a hard time finding dump stations, but finding affordable freshwater has been a little bit of a challenge for us, so being able to top it up twice as much as we can right now would have been great, but we'll do what we can.
Hello. In just a second, we're going to show you how to change this table into our bed, but while we have it up here, I'm going to show you what's under these. So under here is where we're able to keep all of our bedding and pillows and everything. And so it's really nice that it just all stores away under here. It's very packed full, and so you'll see that it barely even closes. But once we put these back on, it's all good.
It's not all good right now.
It'll be fine. And then on this one is the one that I'm more interested in. Here is where we have all of our electrical. So on the top of our van, we have 300 watts of solar panels that feed down here. So in here, we have our solar charger, the inverter to power all of our AC outlets, and then 200 milliamp hour batteries. We've been really impressed with this electrical setup so far. We have been living in this for almost a month now, and and this whole time we haven't had any trouble with the electrical, so this has just been really awesome. Also over here we have on top a cellular booster, and so that comes down and then we can plug that into the internal antenna, and that just gives us better cell reception wherever we are. At least that's how it's supposed to work. It seems to be working okay, but it's not like the most noticeable. Over here, we have a little bit of a control panel, so we can turn on and off the inverter, so that's all of our AC outlets and all that. And then we have a light switch, a few voltometers to check what our battery's voltages are at, and then some USB and just a normal car plug. We also have throughout the van some AC outlets and then some more USB and car plugs. That's pretty much all of our electrical. It's really nice and simple, and we very, very rarely have to open up this bottom part. So that is just
Don't
awesome.
jinx it.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx it, but so far we have not had to fix anything except for soldering a longer cable to plug into our fan on the toilet when we change the bathroom. The last thing is probably the most impressive thing that we've done in this entire van build.
Fell.
That was clearly a joke. It's not perfect yet. We have this little storage compartment down here that we can keep a bunch of stuff. These do not stick on very well. I need to screw them in. This is a very temporary solution, but it's kind of cool. It affords us more space, and we can access it even when the bed is made, and we can keep it here, see what's under there. It's pretty nice, but it's a little janky for now.
Okay, so now we're gonna show you how to turn our dining room into our bedroom. Okay, that's not the easiest making of a bed that we have to do every night.
That was one of the quicker ones we've done, though. That one worked really well.
Yeah, we're still getting the hang of this, but it's not too bad.
Now we have our comfy bed.
You look like you're ready for bed.
So, now that we have the bed set up.
Nice.
And it's really easy to close the doors. We've actually been pleasantly surprised with how spacious this feels. Like in the bed, I am 5'9", so I'm not that tall, but I can fully lay out. And
Your feet are... Do you sleep like that all the time?
no.
Your feet are flat against the wall.
Normally you have a little bit of bend in your knee. I don't sleep like... And then outside of that, there's a good bit of space in here. Like, it doesn't feel claustrophobic at all when you're sitting in bed. For these, this is mine, this is Sabrina's, these are our wardrobes. When we were traveling, we didn't really like packing cubes, but being in here, we found out that it's really good for organizing stuff. So clearly I don't use them for everything, but we have our dirty clothes sack, which is completely full.
Clearly we need laundry.
I have my pants, my underwear one, my shirts, and then some other miscellaneous things. And then Sabrina has hers organized however she has it organized. One of the things, though, that we brought from traveling full time for 6 months is this toiletry bag. This thing was so nice when we were traveling. You can just hook it up anywhere like this, and it just has everything we need. And honestly, this is one of the things that we've noticed has been really, really nice in this transition from living out of backpacks to living in a van. For a lot of people, it's downsizing. For us, it's kind of been upsizing. Kind of. Like, we have so much more stuff that we need to have, like kitchen stuff that we didn't bring on the trip. But to be able to have this much space for our clothes and everything is really, really awesome. It's been really nice to have gotten in the habit of keeping things small, and now we bring it into a van, and it's just so much easier than I imagined it would be for a lot of people. The closest thing we have to an actual medical drawer is this one right here, and it's pretty unorganized. We have fanny pack, lighter, but then some medications and things like that. But yeah, other than that, pretty much everything is in this bag right here. As far as the other cabinets, we already showed this one, but this one right here is where we keep all of our electronics and things, so GoPro and drone and stuff. We also have our cell booster in here, which is really nice, and then just random things like a first aid kit and a book that I haven't read yet. Another thing to mention is it can get hot in this box. So we have up here, we have a fan, which actually works really well. It can get a little noisy, but if you like noise at night, it's great for that. And then when it's cold, we have our Mr. Buddy heater, which actually works really well. We used it for like 10 minutes one morning and it kept it warm for, I don't know, a couple hours. We normally don't want to keep it on for a long time because it runs off of propane and we definitely don't want to sleep with it. So it's really nice that you can just turn it on for 10 or 20 minutes and it'll keep you warm for a few hours. That, I think, is it for the bedroom area. So that's the van tour. I think it'll be really interesting to see how our living situation changes over time. I'm sure it will change a lot and we'll learn a lot of things.
Yeah, we really never expected us to be van people. This is such a shock to me that we're doing this. And I'm so excited to see what it's like traveling around the US together because, I mean, we've both traveled, but we haven't really traveled the US together. So I'm excited to see what it looks like.
Yeah. Well, thanks for watching. We're going to be traveling all over the US and hope to see you in the next video.